Robin Hensel, 807 First Street Southeast. I'm going to finish the statement that I began last time. In a conversation in Jerry Lochner's office, early 2012, he told me that the downtown bars had lobbied City Hall to overlook their many sign violations, including illegal banners in a historic zone. They said they would be hurt financially or go out of business if they couldn't have all their illegal signage, their overages. The city chose to overlook the illegal banners and signs on the Red Bull Bar, owned by the newest council member, Greg Zilka, and Jeff Cheetah, owner of the West Side Bar, who is also chairman of the Park Tree and Recreation Board, and numerous other violations on other bars. There are articles around this time, 2007 and 2008, when the sign ordinance was being revised. I believe it was during that time that actually a letter came from those bars to Jerry Lochner or to the city's office. Not sure about that, but I believe there was such a letter. Now I'm going to address the dog complaint that Mona Marshall brought forward. And I'm going to actually read the police reports and show you a picture of this dog. It's now down at the Humane Society. Should have been at the Humane Society on December 27th. It's really important that laws are enforced uniformly and correct the first time. The first complaint, and I only have, by the way, 2 reports, although Mona Marshall clearly stated she made 3 calls to the police. I only have 2 reports that I got from the police about this dog who was illegal and inhumanely housed. This first complaint was on 12/27/2012 to the house of Scott Pekarsky and Teresa Sullivan. The officer involved was Rick Hiram. The summary is police responded to a complaint of a smaller breed dog tied up to a clothesline post with no shelter, food, or water. Upon arrival, I witnessed the animal in question, and it was entangled around a wire cage type pet porter. I released the dog and placed it inside the cage with a blanket and cleared. I later contacted the owners and advised them of the complaint city ordinance violation. They agreed to get the dog proper food, water, and shelter. At that point, police were clear, no citations needed at this time, nothing further. The next report is from 12/29. This is before the cold snap. This is right after Christmas. This complaint came in and Jake Heffron, police officer, went to this call this time. It states, reporting party called and stated a younger lab dog has been tied up outside with no shelter most of the day. I spoke with the dog owner and advised him of the rules pertaining to animal care. He advised he does not have shelter, food, and water available throughout the day for the animal. Nothing further at this time. Both these officers drove away knowing this dog was inhumanely and illegally housed. This is really troubling. I've worked years, countless years and hours on humane animal issues. The next complaint was lodged by our city administrator. It's ironic that the police report does not list who made the complaint. It says on 1/22 at approximately 20:45 hours, it was brought to my attention that Mona Marshall had recently made a complaint referencing a possible neglected dog that was outside. And then at approximately 20:52 hours, Officer Burgard and I responded to this same address of Scott Allen Pekarsky. Jonathan West was the dog handler the police officer that responded, is also the dog handler that confiscated the dog that night. Now I want to point out something that Alderman Crowder saved the city a lot of dollars by catching a bad agreement with Camp Ripley. There is no exchange money supposed to be in a mutual aid agreement. All is voluntary, no charge. Camp Ripley was going to charge the minute they got to the site. If Alderman Crowder had not caught that ear, the city would have had a bum agreement for fire. And then I also want to read something that was recently in the Star Tribune. John Tevlin wrote, Robin Hensel made the news by challenging the powers in Little Falls. Hensel has strong political opinions on a lot of issues, from corporate greed to foreign wars. She decided to express those on large signs in her yard, drawing complaints from the neighbors and notice to remove them by the city, which claimed such signs were prohibited by ordinance. I'm going to skip down to the bottom in case I don't get it. I don't know where I'm at for time-wise here. The bottom, the last sentence says,
Time's up.
for the greater good of all,
Time is
the
up.
ending I want is for Frost and Hensel to teach the city an important civics lesson.
Anybody else want to speak? If not,